K&E Bulls was an organization that I thought would help the kids in this community. The reason I wanted to do a team was because of a team that the gym is right down the street from Dorsey, Vineyard Rec Center. They were so competitive, they would play the Spurs, Westside Blazers, whoever. My friend Chris Butler was running that program.
I can't say how many times, exactly how many times I beat Tiny, but towards the end I had a really phenomenal team. And I think we were just wiping the league. And at that time, Tiny had the Rockets before he had the Bulls. And we were in a really competitive game. It got down to about, I want to say, 10 seconds left. And I can remember to this day, Tony Farmer raised up at the top of the key and hit that shot, and that was it. And that was the game that Tiny beat me.
I ended up beating them in the game, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna start my own program. So we started the program in 1984. Once
he formed the Bulls, we played against them, and oh man, he spanked me pretty bad. I think he beat us by about close to 20. And I say, you know, hey, there's your revenge. There's your revenge, Ty.
So there was the B&B Spurs, who was the top team in the community. The Westside Blazers, Benny Davenport. You had B-Ball. And you had Slam and Jam, the great Izzy Washington. You had all those programs out there that had great players. But if you wasn't elite, you couldn't make those teams. There was no place for you to play. So I opened up another avenue for the kids, especially in this community, to give them a place to play. And so me and my friend, Kevin Outlaw, who has passed away now, rest in peace, he was the K part of K&E. He would always say, let's name the program E&K because it's your program. I said, that don't sound right, E&K. K&E got a ring to it, K&E Bulls. And so we named them the K&E Bulls. Kids in Education later on down the line, to get our 501c3 status, we changed it to Kids in Education. But it really was Kevin and Edmond.
We were playing Pee Wee basketball. Chris Butler was the guy who ran the basketball program at Vineyard Park. Little did I know, he was also a freshman coach at Dorsey High School. Chris took us as we progressed through the program, and those of us who showed a basketball acumen, who showed that they wanted to consistently improve in basketball, and he transitioned us to the K&E Bulls. So he gave my father the information, and at this point in time, I think I'm about 9 at this time, 9 or 10. He said, this kid is good enough. You know, if McKenzie still wants to play, I got a guy who'll help get him to the next level. So therefore, we meet this guy named Tiny.
I was young. I had to be in middle school. He has an AAU team. They're not around anymore, but when I was growing up, they were one of the bigger AAU teams called K&E Bulls. And if you ever been in the gym, you would know who Tiny is as soon as you walk in. So we were there. At that time, I was playing with B-Ball, and we were getting ready to play K&E, and everybody kept talking about Coach Tiny. So I'm looking for probably the smallest person in the gym at the time, and he's the loudest voice in the gym, so it wasn't nothing Tiny about his roar.
Go get Hassan. Blake, hurry up, Blake. Sub! Hassan! Run off!
I think Tiny is a tough coach, and he's very demanding. He's very giving. And also with Tiny, it's hard to play for him if the kid hasn't been brought in the right way in sports. If he's been coddled and moms and dad, you know, only put him in the backyard and let him shoot and tell him how great he is. But when the real world hits, if you can get through Tiny, then you got a chance to do something. Because I tell people all the time, they say, who could train, who can coach? I said, take him to Tiny. And he's gonna be a much better person and a much better man with Tiny, because he demands respect and accountability. So if it's a kid who just can't handle that, it's normally because he wasn't brought up, he was kind of coddled. That's the way I look at it.
Describing K&E Bull practice, I think the first word would be torturous. Second word would be demanding. And then the third word, I think, would be excellence. Throughout my playing career, I've come to realize that there's a lot of coaches who are phenomenal at X's and O's. Tiny was good at that, but his real strong suit was to take inner city youth and see something in us and demand the absolute best from us. Nothing less than the best. He would set standards that seem unattainable, and he would help us to reach those goals, and then after reaching those goals, continue to set goals that were even higher. I remember 2.5-hour practices. I remember suicides. I remember 17s. I remember 34s. I remember the track at Dorsey, summer, off season, whatever season. I just remember us being introduced to the strength and conditioning part of basketball. And one of his main tenets is that we were going to outwork anybody that we faced. I remember standing 10 push-ups. I remember sitting wall sits in the chair position for 5-10 minutes at a time. And I remember the brotherhood and the camaraderie, but also the competitiveness that he demanded from us as teammates, and then as a team as we would go out and demolish other teams. So, you know, it was tough going through it, but it helped to shape me into the man that I am today. So very appreciative for those opportunities.
So back in my younger days, Coach Tiny he's the same coach. He was the same coach now as he is back then. He's the disciplinary, he's the hard nose, he's tough. You know, he has that military background. So for him, everything is about discipline. And that's the way he runs his program, that's the way he coaches. And for us at that young age of, you know, adolescent, that 12 to 14, we're still trying to figure it out, young male stage. Guys like Tiny was able to kind of keep us in line.
Parents would say, oh, I don't know why he's yelling at them kids like that. I don't know why he's talking to them kids, why he's getting on them kids like that. It's just basketball. But then when I realized, when I stopped playing basketball, when I got arrogant, when he wasn't on me, nobody else was on me, the other side of the streets took advantage. And when I went through my journey in life and went to prison, those sheriffs and those COs talking to you crazy, all those environments in there talking to you crazy. Now you gotta withstand that or you lose. So he prepared me for my journey, and I did 10 years in prison. It wasn't for those teachings as a kid, I wouldn't have made it in prison. So when I came home in 2014, I was ashamed a little bit because, you know, I was pretty good and everybody made it. Everybody went Division I. I didn't play high school basketball. I didn't do none of that, so it was kind of like a shame side to me. I still love basketball, so I was like, he's like, they got this little thing, you might go overseas and try, see what happens. I said, you know what, I didn't play high school, I'm gonna give it a shot. So I went with Coach Tiny, start back working out every day, sat on the bench 3 games in a row, didn't get in the game, finally got in the game, scored 11 points, and it was a wrap after that. We ended up winning the championship. Like I always have done, won championships. So that's when I knew basketball was like, due to Coach Tiny, changed my life.
Run back to the baseline and then come through this side to the gap.
One of Tiny's many great attributes, but one of the attributes was this ability to take just the inner city kid who came in with very little skill set, and he was able to just pull this greatness. And it wasn't individual greatness, although we had some individually great players, kids who've gone on to be fantastic basketball players. But at that time, we were just a bunch of kids who just worked hard. We're gonna be 15 deeps, and we're gonna just be deep, and we're gonna just be ravenous defenders on you all game. And we would win tournaments just through attrition. We would just wear teams out. We would press all day, double team. And I remember being invited as a team to a regional tournament. And I remember the build-up, and I remember him speaking to the importance of us being our best because there were some high stakes on the line. And we acquitted ourselves very well. I think we either won the tournament or we took second place in the tournament. And shortly thereafter, he informed us that we had an opportunity to go to the Nationals. The thing that held us up, or the thing that would be the biggest obstacle, would be finance. Most of us were coming from lower middle class families. Another one of his great attributes is that he didn't demand any financial compensation for his time. He was doing this out of the kindness of his heart. And many of us couldn't afford to pay for that stuff. And so his vision necessitated a lot of fundraising. I remember we even went onto the news and we asked if people would be willing to contribute to this fund and to this vision of his. And we were able to speak about how it was an honor to have an opportunity to travel and represent California on a national stage, and even more so to represent inner city Los Angeles. Our parents did a phenomenal job of seeing the benefit of having these inner city kids who had never been outside of the city very far, much less outside of the state. A lot of sacrifice. Coach Tiny made connections or reached out to his connections in the community. And there was an outpouring of love, outpouring of donations, parent sacrifice. And we were able to get on that trip to head to Tennessee.
A lot of the players from that team are coaching, doing well in life, so they heard our message. And that's how it all got started. But Rancho was the place. We played in the summer league, and I named my team the Bulls. We did pretty good, and then I decided to put a tag on it, and we ended up being the K&E Bulls. And we were around for over 40 plus years in this community. Right now, it's TBT, trained by Tiny, which is the same. It's just a different name. It's still K&E, but it's TBT now, trained by Tiny.
Tiny was a very serious person on whatever he did. You know, the upbringing around in the hood, around Jefferson High School, and in the service, you know, he knew how to get it done, and this was his way of getting things done. Now, a lot of people said, he's too hard, he yelled too much. That was Tiny's way. Now, what I've always said about Tiny, he's one hell of a trainer. Because he's going to go through it, he's going to show you how to do the right thing, and when he puts you in the game or put you out there in that drill, he expects for you to do it the right way. And when you don't do it the right way, he's going to let you know. And that was Tiny.
I got with Tiny on a more personal development phase when I was out of college. That's when he and I got really close. I was still trying to figure out my way professionally and trying to stay in shape. And at that time, Tiny was one of the few, if not the first, rare guys that were actually training. It wasn't a big thing growing up. Like, we learned trial by fire. You want to go learn how to play, go to the park and play with the older guys and figure it out. And then Tiny became the guy that people went to get better, to improve. And his son and I, Eric, are the same age. So me and Eric bumped into each other, and typical, where are you going to work out at? I'm going to work out with my dad. Oh, Tiny's a trainer. And oh, did I find out was he a trainer? It was like one of the hardest trainers I'd ever worked with in my life. But that's where the mentorship came from years later, encountering him as a pro.
We actually had a mutual friend. His name was Javier Avalos. His daughter and my daughter were playing travel ball together. And we had a team, and I coached, and we worked out, and he was a big believer in my kid. Like, he always used to tell me when I used to get down and under, like, Jose, she's gonna be okay. I'll bet my house on it. Like, he was a big fan of hers. And one day he told me, like, hey man, I know this guy. You probably know him too. He's like, he does a lot of things with the Drew League, and he's coached a lot of players. Like, my daughter works out with him here and there when we have a chance. He was like, you should check it out. Like, I think you'll like him. You know, it's very old school. He's very demanding, but his stuff works. He was like, and I think that he can help Kim. And we saw the workout, and it was different. It was very different for me. It was very different for my daughter. Kim was just like, Dad, like, this is it. Like, this is my trainer. Like, he can make me better.
I definitely thought he was crazy, but I mean, like the stuff he was teaching me, I never seen it from nobody else. So I was like, I've tried so much other stuff and it's obviously not working if I'm still the same player. So after I met him, I started changing my game. I was able to like get to the basket, mid-range. He does a lot of mid-range game. He works a lot on that. So I was like, I'm just gonna trust whatever he's making me do. And that's what I did. And like, I ended up going from averaging 8 points to scoring 30 my first game of my junior year. And then from there on, I was just averaging 20 points a game. That was like my best year ever.
I found out about it when I was 10 years old. I found out I had an extra rib and I had to wear a back brace to like support it and get it back to being straight. So I wore that for a whole year. The pain went away, I was fine. And then once I turned 17 and I was in high school, I was playing full throttle, I found out that my spine was slipping forward. I had an extra rib, an extra vertebrae, a syndrome called Bertolotti's. I got it all fixed my junior year. And then from dunking and hanging on the rim, I broke the screws upwards in my back. So I missed 2 years of basketball. Everybody gave up on me and like I had nothing. Tiny was the only one that was like, hey, I'll give you the chance. Let's work. And then my back ended up getting better and stronger, and throughout the months, Tiny got me stronger. And it was one day where I was like, I'm gonna just go pro. I was stressing. I just kept going through it, like working out. I was like, man, I can't do this. I just want to go pro. And he took me to the side and he was like, I will train you if you want to go to college. He said, but if you want to go pro, you will be on your own. And I think that was probably one of the greatest things that a coach ever told me, because like I went home, I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's go to school. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna give it a chance. Now I'm about to get my degree. I love school. It's probably the best thing I did. I'm having fun, and it worked out. It planned out.
I don't want that. I want this.
So I know Tiny back then when he had his leg, you made any mistake, 1 or 2 mistakes, he got up right away and got in your face and got on you. Now he's a little more like calm, but he still yells at you from across the gym. He's still on you the same way, but it's a little different. But I know. I've seen it. I've seen him yell at the pros. I've seen him yell at, he's yelled at me a couple times for like messing up because he wants the best for everybody. When I came with him, it was just, I was a lot slower. My jump shot was weird and it wasn't falling. Now I have all these steps like that he helps me with, like that I know I can fix my own jump shot. Like when I miss, I know something's wrong and I know how to fix it. That's what he helped me with a lot.
So the most difficult part for playing with my dad would be just the way that, like from the referees to other players used to like come towards me, like as far as like not getting no calls from the refs because they like, oh, this Tiny son. From other people that tried to play on the team for my pop, they playing hard on me for no reason, 'cause I don't know who they are. So like that was probably the most difficult thing. I always had to be like ready. If it was a referee, coach, like whoever it was, like I always had to be ready. Like that was probably the most difficult thing.
Around 15, once I started I started seeing things from a different perspective, but I also contributed that to his assistant coaches. They would pull me to the side. They gave me a different point of view or perspective because I wasn't trying to hear it. I did feel a certain type of way because I'm like, hey man, like I'm your son. I can't even start. And you playing this dude over me, and I know I'm better than him.
What I enjoy most is to see the kid that didn't have a lot of skill, but had the desire to learn, turn into from a caterpillar to a butterfly. You know, it's just a transformation. You see a kid that couldn't make a left-hand layup can make a left-hand layup now. Kid that couldn't dribble with his left hand can dribble with his left hand. Kid that couldn't shoot can shoot now. The kid didn't understand a 2-3 from a 1-3-1. He understands those things. That's the biggest joy for me. People say, well, Tiny's one of the greatest trainers. I don't consider myself a trainer. I consider myself a developer because you do not have to know the game to play for me. I tell my kids today, being cut is a part of the sport. Quitting is not a part of the sport. One of the best players in the world got cut. Michael Jordan got cut. But he didn't stop. Probably one of the greatest guys to ever tie up a pair of tennis shoes. There's a lot out there that accomplished some of the same things that he's accomplished, but he got cut.